First of all, what do you need by group creation? I assume now you have, like, as you know, like usually if you did any benchmark and you would like to calculate between pre and post value, or to have it in a chart like this just to make it more clean, even line or column chart. So usually, for example, you know that your action done here, so you would like to have a one value for the post and pre, even maybe you need different colors in the chart. So this is actually where the groups, one of the function of the groups when it comes to the figure. So now, assume now I have this again. Let me take one more column like this one. I create it quickly. Then I add here the dates. Okay, again the dates, and for example the speed as well, downlink speed. So I need the downlink speed. So now assume now you take an action. Okay, you take an action on this 6th of May. Okay, and you would like to consider this as a color, different color or different group. So from 6th of May till 9th of May. So what you need to do this part. So now your x-axis is the date, right? Which where you need to create the group. So now you go to the date, which is your x-axis. Here is the mark. Right click, then you will have a new group. We have done this before for the minutes, but this time we need to make it as a list. So here you can see, you just click a list. So for example, my action was done in 5th of May. So I need to create a group here. If you see, I selected with shift. Then I just click group. It will come here with this name. You can double click and, for example, change it to post. And this is your group now created. All the remaining will be called other. You can change it to pre, for example, or even you can create additional group. For example, mention this one, whatever, baseline, for example, call it baseline. I selected another date, which is called baseline starting from 30 and so on. So now actually, and one more important, this can be edited anytime you need. So for example, if you have any change, if you have any data added, so you can keep changing. So if I did like this now, I'll click OK. Now if you look into this, it will be created as data groups too, because I have already created one before. That's why it's coming here. So for example, let's drag and drop this one into this figure, into the legend. Let's just see what we have now. So for example, see, this is your baseline, and this is a post value, and this is a pre value. We can just, yeah. So now this is the main idea. So let me just change the x-axis to American. So for example, this one is starting from 20 February. It's okay. 20 February. This is just to give this a pre, and this is I mentioned as a baseline, as a color, for example, and it's moving as you can see with different colors. And this is can be applied for tables as well. So for example, in this particular table, I have another group here. I called it date group, so I can replace it with by the new group. So now I will have this kind of distribution, which is baseline, post, and pre. So now you can create another group. And this group can be edited anytime. For example, if you added a new data set, or you need to change your benchmark date, so you just need to go again and right click, and instead of new group, you can just make edit group. And here, for an example, I can remove this 2 days. Just I can remove it like this. And it will go back to this other, to the pre, because I didn't actually make a group for this one. So if I make like this, now we'll find some different color in between here. See, now it's coming as a pre because I changed this too. So that's why it's coming as a pre now. And this can be edited anytime you need. So this is one example for the group creation. You remember we have created this moving average before. You remember this moving average function. So this is the first function. So I would like to show you something. For example, here I have the moving average, which is called moving average. If I click this one here, right? If I click this one here, this was, remember we creating the moving average compared to 3 days. But what if you want this one to be dynamic? Like for example, in going every time, clicking the formula, changing this, I want to 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. I want to change it all the time just to see what's happening. So instead of clicking this one and changing, for example, to 0, so once I change it to 0 to give me the exactly same value here, so now in this case, no, I need to have something dynamic control my inputs within the formula. So in this case, this is where, for example of the parameters which come into the figures. Okay, what it means by this? Let me delete this one and show it again. So now I would like to create like a parameter just to control my values within this formula which I've just shown to you now. So in this case, what you need to do, you just need to go to this above here, modeling, and under the modeling, you have this new parameter. You can see this new parameter having two functions. I will explain both of them. But first, I need this numeric range. So I will just click numeric range, And here, this is the numeric range. It's just asking you about parameter name. I will just keep it same as this one. Parameter, I will just keep the same name. And this is the range of the values you would like. For example, this can be changed to any value you would like, for example, 400 or whatever. So I'll keep it the default for the meantime. So now this is increment step. You want it by 1, 2, 3, whatever you want, you can do it like this. And here just saying that, do you like to add this one as a slicer? Yes, I need to add it as a slicer, and let's see what will happen. So now I will create. Once I have created this one, see now it's coming as parameter, as a slicer here. So for example, this one here, it doesn't have any values. So for example, let's say that I make it till 20, remember, right? So I make, for example, 4 here. So this one actually it will not make any change. So now I need to control this one. As I mentioned to you, the formula which having here, moving average formula. For example, if instead of calculating manually, for example, 0 and so on, I need to calculate by a specific or dynamic parameter. So I need now to give me my parameter name. This is actually my parameter which I have created. So now I replace the value with the parameter which I created. So now I just change it here, right? Click, and now let's see what will happen. So now see, this one, it's 4, right? So if I change it to 0, I'm expecting to change in this one because now this is one taking effect within the formula. So now it will be exactly the same. What 2, example like this, and the maximum value you have created is up to 20. By the way, whenever you create a new parameter, it will be coming into another set, as you can see down here. It's coming as with the name you have created. So if you click this one, for example, just use the formula. This is created by automatically by system, like series from 0 to 20, and the step is 1. Just explaining to you what you are doing, and this is the main idea about creating parameters. This can be created in any other function you have it, or during your work, especially when you go to the advanced level. Now, what is the second function of creating parameters? If you remember, when you make like data modeling here, and we click a new parameter, you have fields and range. What's the differences? Numeric range already described. Fields, let's say. Okay, you can see this right in the right here. I have many metrics inside: average latency, throughput, latency bottom 10%, or SLB uplink throughput. You can see I have created something called KPI list. So for example, if I check this one, it will start changing within this one, just giving me the latency, average latency, and the average latency, and so on, and downlink throughput, for example. So it will give me the downlink throughput as well, and same, and so on. Okay, so now I have used this like KPI list to give more control, just make it quickly for me. And also this is important for something called like whenever you would like to publish your report, but keep this one for now. But this is like a KPI list, and this is a function of creating parameters. I will show you how it can be done. Even though also there is something else, I have done it here. For example, you have here the comparison, or the axis is the dates, right? Friday, Monday, whatever is day. So for example, this also list, if I make it by date, see what it will do. It will make it like as dates. You can even change whenever you will like, as long as you have it in your list. So in this case, what you need to do, I will just remove these two, or even I can just drop it down here, and I will remove whatever I have here, and just show like how to do this part. I need to have something similar like this and see how we can do it. Okay. So in this case, you need to go modeling. Okay. So in this modeling, for example, you need to have this fields things. So in these fields, I need to create, for example, something to control my dates. Okay. So in these dates, I'm going to use the data sets under this one. I will just make a list. Okay. What it means by this, for example, I would like to add whatever I have here as dates. I will just add it. I'm just clicking day name, for example. I need also to have DT benchmark as an example. And if you go down here, we have the week of year. This is even technology can be added. Whatever you need to add here, dates, whatever based on your whatever you're doing. So now I will create. This one will be created as a parameter with a list. It will having a list, a slicer which contains this particular list, and this can you can add it or remove whatever you want. So now create. Now this one, it will be called dates2, and it will be created as a slicer here. So now I'll just take this one above here. Now this is what, and again you can just change the slicer formatting from here, format visual, and just slicer settings. You can, for example, make it drop down. So now I have this drop down list. I have drop down list here. Just keep it for now. Now let's select, create another one, modeling for the list of the KPIs. So I will just make it as fields. Then this one, I will call it KPIs list 2. Now I will just on this one, whenever you do it, it should be a measure. It should be something you already having like formally calculated there. It cannot take a number of fields. So for example, this one I will select it, a measure, all the measure which I have in here. So now I have this kind of KPIs which is being collected. So just again, the note, this one, if you went down here and try to select any of the data which you have it will not be really, example, if you selected something not created, it will not be really working, but let's see what we'll have now, especially if you're speaking about values. Let's see how this one will be coming as a value. Okay, so now let's see. Now create this one. I'll tell you like why I have mentioned this, just to make it clear as well. So now I have this. Also, I will make it as a drop down. Okay, so now let's do like this. Now this chart, I want to be controlled by these two inputs. So if remember, I mentioned that whatever you create as a parameters will be coming here. So if you check this one called dates2, it's coming as dates2. And if you collect here, it will be creating a formula which is automatically created and showing this input. So for example, I have this date group having first one name of dates week group 2, and this is how it's calling it. It's calling it date groups 2, date name. So whenever you need to add something, you just need to copy paste this one and give the name you need and the column of the name you would like to add as well. This is like in case if you want to change manually in the future. So now let's drag and drop now and see what we can do about whatever we have just created. So if I click this chart now, I need now to go to again to the add to visual. I need to add this dates2 to the x-axis. So now the x-axis will be controlled by this dates2. Okay. Now the KPIs list 2 above here. This is it's created already here. You can see. If you also click here, it will be showing this is the name of your metric and this is the set of the data. Like for example, do you know that this one was coming from KPIs here, KPIs value, KPIs average latency. So now this is the KPIs metrics which I have it here. So if I drag and drop this one into the y-axis now, I need to drag and drop this one into y-axis. I just open it, drag into y-axis. See now it's happening. Now it's actually, first of all, you can see just showing this post and B and showing all the KPIs. Okay, here it's showing all. It will take the first one if it's all. It's just take the first group. For example, this group. That's why it's giving this post and V. So now if you keep selecting this one, changing this one, see it will be changing down here. Post pre baseline. If you, for example, change a date, it will be also changing as a date over here. And if you are speaking about the KPI list here, you can just, for example, average latency. So in this case, as you can see now, it's giving this kind of average latency. Forget about the name. This will be speaking about it, and just the title, chart title, need to be changed. So now if you change it again, for example, latency bottom 10 percentile, it will again change the value. Downlink or uplink is through it. It will also again change the value. So this is the other way around of creating parameters. Now let's move forward for some of quick chart formats, which we already was discussing, but I need to organize it to you like quickly here. So I will go to the chart format.